Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Good evening. Welcome to Direct Connection. We are live tonight on location at one of the growing number of vineyards and wineries around the state of Maryland. Harvest season now. It's been a terrific growing season. The grapes you can see are ready to be harvested and turned into different varieties of wines and served in different ways, including now in cans, wine in cans. We're going to talk about that and other developments in the Maryland wine industry. Joining us tonight is Drew Baker. He's the farmer in charge, the proprietor and founder of Old Westminster Winery and Vineyards here in Carroll County. Drew, thanks for being with us.
Well, thanks so much and welcome to Westminster. So this is my family's farm, and for the better part of the last decade we've been growing grapes and turning those grapes into premium wines right here in Carroll County.
Have to admit, I know nothing about vineyards, but this looks terrific. It looks like it's been here for 50 years.
Well, these grapes in particular have been planted for 10 years, and it's not without a lot of hard work that goes into these vines to make them look this beautiful.
People may have noticed the netting that's behind you around the grapes. What are we
That's
keeping something out, or are we keeping something in?
That's to keep the pesky birds away. Yeah, so we put a lot of handwork into these vines each year, and we put these nets up at the end of the season as the fruit is getting ripe and close to harvest, just to make sure that no critters get to them before we do.
I said it's been a good year. Has it, in terms of weather? Because you're totally dependent, right?
We certainly are. We're at weather's mercy, and I'll tell you, it's been a tremendous year. It's been warm and dry, beautiful actually, and grapevines like these conditions. So we're poised to have a really good year.
This is the dream for so many people that you're living of opening a winery, running it and doing events and experimenting with different things. What's in your background that made this possible?
Well, it's really a family effort, and myself, my sisters, my parents, we're all in together. My sister Lisa is a chemist by education. She's really the brains of the operation. My youngest sister Ashley is just a tremendous people person, went to school for marketing and managed our team. I went to school for business and have really grown into a passionate farmer, and growing grapes to make premium wines is something that I really enjoy.
That's what you have a whole organization chart just within the family.
Well, you know, there was that moment where we sat at the table and looked at each other and said, if you're in, I'm in, and we really do. We enjoy working together. We have a common goal, which is to put Maryland wine on the map, and we do that with a variety of wines, premium wines in bottles, in cans, sparkling wines, so we offer a really wide variety of formats.
All right, so what do we have here? I can tell, the expert I am, that these are white wine grapes.
Yes, exactly. So this, we're sitting in a block of Chardonnay. It's about 2 acres. This is a Burgundian clone, and from these particular grapes, we make 3 different styles of wine, including the wine called Farm Fizz, which is a sparkling Chardonnay in can. This white wine called Heirloom, which is also produced predominantly from these Chardonnay grapes, and also a traditional method sparkling wine made from these exact Chardonnay grapes as well.
Tell me about the whole can thing, because I read that this was a trend, and then I saw that you were the originators of this in Maryland.
Old Westminster Winery was the first farm winery on the East Coast to can wine 3 years ago. And we just felt like cans were a really appropriate format to take wines with you and into your life. So whether you're at the ballpark or out in the woods camping, a glass bottle and stemware and corkscrews can be really inconvenient. So we thought cans were a beautiful way to take wines made in a way that we were really proud of with you anywhere.
Recycling advantage too, right? I mean, tin cans are recycled all over the place.
Absolutely. Airtight, no light shatter, easy to recycle, lightweight. There's a lot of environmental benefits as well.
Now, what do the wine purists think of wine in cans?
Well, we're really changing the conversation, and these cans have been an awesome opportunity for us to distribute Maryland wine in over 13 states. So from New York to Maine to California to Texas, you can find these wines on shelves in stores like Whole Foods, and it really has offered a great opportunity for us to tell Maryland wine's story without all the pretense.
Are there different sizes? I mean, this is probably more than a glass serving, right?
This is actually a half bottle of wine.
Really?
So this is 375 milliliters, and this is 750. So this is exactly a half bottle of wine.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, so it's really important. These cans will sit on the shelf for about $8, and it's important for the consumer to understand that that's a half bottle of wine, much more than a single serve. Though 2 glasses of wine is appropriate to drink by yourself.
Later in the program, we'll have a spokesman for the wider Maryland wine industry. But what's your perspective on what's happened in Maryland over the last decade, several decades?
Well, I can tell you that we got started in this industry 1 decade ago, and our time has just been really, it's been a great time to be a part of the Maryland wine industry. It's growing exponentially. When we got started, there were just 20 wineries, and today there are over 90, and so the growth has been exponential. And
competition's been
competition,
exponential.
absolutely. So, but it's a rising tide floats all boats, and we believe that. So we're trying to make premium wines, and anyone else who is as well, we consider a friend.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about Maryland wines, the different varieties, the different packaging, anything you want to ask, send us an email right now to livequestions@mpt.org. That's livequestions@mpt.org, and we will get you an answer. And we will continue from Westminster with more on Maryland wines right after this.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
Are you turning 70 and a half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
We are the curious.
Wow!
The adventurous.
Oh!
Those venturing out for the first time.
And those who've never lost our sense of wonder.
Whoa. You seen this?
We are the hungry.
The strong.
I must be the greatest!
The joyful.
A happy little cloud.
We believe there is always more we can uncover.
More we can explore.
We believe in the capacity for goodness.
And the potential for greatness.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
PBS. PBS.
PBS.
Direct Connection continues live from Westminster. We're focusing on the Maryland wine industry, joined now, in addition to Drew Baker of Old Westminster Winery, by Al Spoler, host of Cellar Notes on WYPR, contributor to Maryland Farm and Harvest on MPT, and also the chair of what for the Maryland Wineries Association?
Wine competitions.
And we just had a competition.
We just had one yesterday, the Governor's Cup wine competition, which was really exciting.
Yeah, but it's too soon to press you.
We haven't gone through.
And is that a wine pun if I press you for answers? Sorry.
Okay, Jeff. 2 points for you. We haven't gone through the spreadsheet carefully and making sure that we know exactly who the winner is. But I can tell you some of the people that did very well. Port of Leonardtown, which is the only cooperative winery we have in the state. They're down in southern Maryland. They performed well. Big Cork, which is out near the Antietam battlefield, did really well. And Catoctin Breeze, a little winery near Emmetsburg, they've been killing it lately. They're doing extremely well. So a lot of good news.
You know, people watching may think good wine has to come from either France or California. Is it the weather? Is it the soil? What makes for a good grape?
Well, I'll tell you that great wines come from both of those places. But I'll also tell you that the soil and environment here in Maryland is also conducive to premium winemaking. And for the better part of the last decade, I think we've been doing just that here at Old Westminster Winery. We're producing really exceptional wines year in and year out. And I think 2019 will be no exception. And weather nights like this, I think, speak well to premium wine.
Let me get to a couple of email questions. This is from Kevin. Is there a primary market for Maryland wine outside of the region? In other words, are you selling to Marylanders in maybe neighboring states or beyond?
Well, beyond. So we do have a tasting room here on our farm and a wine club with 1,500 members, and that's a primary market for us. But Old Westminster wines are distributed in 13 states, from New York to Maine to Oregon to California to Tennessee. So there is a market for wines that we're making here on this small farm outside of our own borders, and that's a really encouraging thing for us.
The tasting room is right behind us over there as the sun sets in Carroll County. How much of the business is events, and is that routine for Maryland wineries?
Well, we have a tasting room, and it's open every Thursday and Friday evening, as well as Saturday and Sunday afternoons, 50 weeks out of the year. So
looks like maybe a venue for special events, though, right?
We do a few of those, especially in the fall, because weather like this is really appropriate for special events outdoors. So that is certainly an important. Agritourism is a very important part of our business, but distribution is certainly becoming a growing piece of the pie as well.
Al, I meant to ask you, as my favorite wine expert, going back a long time, this idea of wine in cans.
It's pretty amazing. And I think what it's doing, Jeff, is in a way democratizing wine. There used to be, I think, two schools of thought about wine. It was either really cheap or really expensive. And it wasn't something that everyone felt that they had entree to. But when you put wine in cans, it just changes the game. I think this started actually with the craft beer industry when they started putting the craft beer in cans, which sort of demystified it. So I think it's a very, very good thing, and I think it's here to stay.
We had talked a long time ago about, I think it was fake corks.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's because good wines would come with twisty tops instead of an old-fashioned cork, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of corks, I have to say. I have a pretty good cellar, and I bring up a lot of old wine, and probably half the time the cork breaks as I'm trying to withdraw it. So the fake corks are good. I love twist tops, particularly on wine that you intend to drink within the year. You know, it's just fabulous, and there's no shame to it.
All right, so no shame to the can.
No.
Well, let's get back to the emails here. You mentioned being able to buy Maryland wine at Whole Foods. Ironically, not possible to buy them at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's in Montgomery County. How can we make Maryland more easily accessible? Yeah, talk about distribution.
Well, that's a big political question, and Maryland is a state that doesn't allow grocery store chains to sell wine. So while our wines are in Whole Foods in Virginia, D.C., Ohio, in Maryland, that's not permitted. So Maryland is a state in which wine is sold through independently owned wine shops and liquor stores. So that's the best way to find our wines throughout the state of Maryland.
A viewer wants to know about red wine. What varieties of red wine grapes can be grown in Maryland?
I think quite a few. We have the original Bordeaux 5, primarily Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and then a couple also rans with Malbec and Petit Verdot. But certainly Cab Sauv and Cab Franc do extremely well here in Maryland. Some people think Cab Franc is probably our best grape. And I'm
certainly, and I think Petit Verdot is promising as well.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Then there's other things that are creeping into the conversation. Syrah has made an appearance, and then you'll have some little oddball things like Barbera from Italy and Sangiovese.
And I would only like to add that I think that we can also look to Native American and mixed heritage grape varieties. These are varieties that are crosses between European grape varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon and Native American vines that I think can produce really interesting wines that are unique to this region. They can be grown organically, even in challenging weather conditions, which is just, I think, a really important factor.
For people who are not wine experts and know that it starts with a grape and ends with a bottle, what happens in between then? What's the
Well,
process?
grapes accumulate sugar, and yeast live on the skin of the grapes. Yeast consume sugar and turn it into alcohol. This process is called fermentation. So really, it's just a metabolism. It's a simple transformation. If you crush up some grapes and leave them on your counter, it will turn into alcohol.
Email question, where can I buy your canned wine in Carroll County, and what types of wine are canned? Is it, I think I saw you had a rosé.
We have a variety from rosé to the Chardonnay that we call Farm Fizz to a red called Carbonic, which is made from Cabernet Franc. And in Carroll County, some of the best shops around here are House of Liquors and College Square right in Westminster.
For somebody who's thinking of getting into this business, you mentioned the exponential growth of the wine business in Maryland. What should you know about? Of course, you have a chance here to warn off your competition, but you know, was there a point in the last 10 years where you thought, I sure wish I had known that before?
Boy, that's a really good question. I think a rising tide floats all boats. So we welcome the 90 wineries that are now in Maryland, and I think that we're all collectively better off together. What I'll say is that it's not easy to grow grapes in this region, but if done well and with a careful eye and attention to detail, we can make exceptional wines here. And I think the important thing of advice that I would give to anyone is that a winery is known by its worst wine. So it's really important to have a keen eye for high quality.
I would add to that, you better have awfully good financing, and you have to think years and years and years into the future. I know that Drew is developing a new vineyard project at Burnt Hills. He started this probably about 2 years ago, and after he made the decision to make that purchase, it'll take him 10 years to decide whether or not he did the right thing and planted the right thing and made all the right decisions.
Wine growing is not for the impatient, that's for sure.
What's the fastest you can get something from the vine to the bottle?
I would say 3 years minimum, yeah.
So
and likely
do that?
5.
Where are you aging and producing things?
We have our winery, which is right here on this farm, just over the hill.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a 6,000 square foot facility with processing equipment, large tanks for fermentation, and then a barrel room as well where we age wines before bottling.
Well, this is interesting. A viewer writes in to say that wine sales in Maryland grocery stores are specified by the county, not the state. So the Wicomico County Acme and Food Lion, they have wine for sale.
How about that?
I've never seen that in
Fun fact.
a grocery store in Maryland. And then we have a viewer who wanted to know why wine burns my throat, but beer doesn't. Are there types of wine that would be less likely to have a burning feeling? Have you ever, you only drink the good stuff.
Well, you know, the average alcohol content for wine is around 12%, more or less. And beers are rarely that high, so beer is a much lower alcohol content. But I don't suspect it's just purely the alcohol content. It's just he just has a very sensitive throat. But alcohol content has to be put on the label.
Sure.
And so he could look for things that are around 10%. A lot of German wines, for instance, are pretty low in alcohol, and he might give those a try.
Interesting. We will continue from Old Westminster Winery when Direct Connection continues right after this.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
Are you turning 70 into half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
And we're joined now by Jim Buckman of the Maryland Wineries Association, continuing with Al Spoler's Cellar Notes on WYPR Radio on an unbelievably beautiful night in Carroll County. How about this?
This is amazing, and we were just saying what a difference a year makes. Last year, 2018, was regarded as the worst vintage in the history of Maryland. And we were talking amongst ourselves that if that had repeated itself 2 more years, we wouldn't have an industry anymore. So that's how fragile it is. I know Drew said that, we're at the mercy of the weather. Boy, is that true. But we are so lucky. This year was the exact opposite, a polar opposite.
Was it what you're looking for? I mean, what is it that you're? I mean, because you always hear that you want the grapes to be stressed a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Or certain kinds.
Well, we're getting stressed right now because we haven't had any rain for a while, and this is a good thing. What happens between the end of August, let's say the middle of August, and the end of October, is critical. But September is really the important month, in my opinion. If we'd had a hurricane, for instance, if that had come up, it would have been, problematical to say the least. But we've been having nothing but beautiful weather for just weeks on end now. We had some rain, and apparently it was wetter this year than it was last year, but the rain was interspersed with long periods of sunny weather. So we didn't get it all together, which was what the big problem was last year.
Jim, give us the big picture view of the Maryland wine business. What's happening?
We're growing. That's the best part about the Maryland wine business right now. The industry is growing. We have, like Drew said earlier, about 90 wineries in the state, with more wineries planning to open. We are in the process of seeing a huge growth in the number of acres in the state of grapes that are grown. So Maryland fruit becoming Maryland wine is a very big, crucial part of our forward look.
How do we look compared to comparable states? I mean, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, similar in terms of the growth?
I think that our growth is coming on board now. The industry is still fairly young here. I think that we have a lot of very entrepreneurial owners and business people who are excited about the potential with Maryland wine. I think that we have some room to grow still before we're really kind of edging up on places like Virginia. They have a wonderful wine industry, and I think that ours is hot on their tail.
How about the marketing aspect? I mean, do Marylanders know about this growth and the varieties that are available?
I think that Maryland wine started with a very strong show for a specific palate. And I think that now, as the industry is maturing and as more and more creative minds are coming into the industry every day, we see that the Maryland wine option is growing to kind of offer a wine for everybody. So we're moving away from wines that may have been, I don't know if you want to call them starter wines or wines for a sweeter palate, to wines that are definitely more fine and using grapes that are more sought after.
Wine Festival coming up?
Yeah, Maryland Wine Festival right here in Carroll County, September 21st and 22nd. We're really excited about that.
What can people expect?
They can expect a 2-day festival filled with wonderful wine. We have 20 wineries that will be offering wine there on the tasting meadow. We offer the Explorer tent up on the top of the hilltop, and we invite people to come up there and taste exclusive wines, have an option to buy some of those exclusive wines and learn a little bit more about our industry.
All right, so how would a wine pro like Al Spoler approach an event like that where you're going to be trying so many different things? What's the process like?
Oh, boy. Well, back when we only had 9 wineries, it was pretty easy. I knew all the winemakers. I'd just tap them on the shoulder and say, what have you got? And they poured pour it for me. Now, I think I would go up to the big tent where the best wines in Maryland are. I would concentrate on those. The other thing, Jeff, you got to spit. You got to spit.
So it seems impolite, but if you're going to be testing dozens of different varieties, do you cleanse your palate in any way?
Yeah, you can. Maybe after 10 or so wines, you might want to have a cracker or a piece of bread or something like that. But the best thing is just spit into a little red Solo cup and do it discreetly. But you don't want to get too fuddled.
You're testing whites for this half hour, and then you're going to move over to reds, or can you mix and match?
I tend to stay with all whites first, and then move over to the reds. Whites are a little bit easier on your palate. Reds, because of the tannin, can kind of corrode the palate a bit.
And for viewers who have never tried a Maryland wine, where would you start?
I would start by visiting some of these wineries. And if you go to the Maryland Wineries Association website, they have these wine trails that are listed. And you can make a weekend out of it. But go to the wineries, get to know the people there, try the samples that they'll give you in the tasting room, buy a few, take them home.
Well, that's great advice. We've had a lot of fun on our winery day here in Carroll County. Jim, Al, thanks very much for the time. We appreciate it. We're back on Thursday with Your Money and Business. For all of us at MPT, thanks for watching and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.